he went to, I think it was Tyre, right? Or Tyre, or whatever you say it. And he preferred, he wanted no one to know which house he was at. Which is an interesting detail about Jesus, because you would think if he wanted something, it would happen, right?
Yeah.
But it says he wasn't able to keep that a secret. And I thought that was such an interesting passage. It really just grabbed my heart. Okay, so Jesus wants this, and he's doing it for God. Probably the reason he didn't want anybody to know, so he could do more ministry, so he could do more, he could do something. I don't know. We don't know. Was he tired? Was he exhausted? We don't know. We just know he'd prefer that nobody knew where he was, at least where he home based, and he wasn't able to make it happen. Maybe the disciples were just knuckleheads, and they were like, "Oh, he's over here. Hey, Jesus!" We don't know, but we know he wasn't successful in that. And that's when the woman who has a daughter who has been possessed by a demon comes up, lays at his feet, hears. And there's so many faith moves. She hears that maybe Jesus is there. And so she's like, I heard of Jesus. I heard he might be here. I'm going to go over there and just bow at his feet. I hope it's him. Right? It's not like we had Face ID. It was like, we just hope it's him. So she does this, and that's when you hear that famous where he's like, well, it's not appropriate to give to dogs what the kids are supposed to eat. And everyone's like, that's not politically correct. So she, and instead, miraculously, of her being like, oh, well, see you later. Her need was so great. She's like, yeah, but I get that. That's a good point, Jesus. But even the dogs can eat the crumbs from under the table, right? And so he's like, ooh, good answer. Zach, your daughter's healed. And she was. And so, but we get that crazy story out of this idea that what he preferred didn't happen. Jesus, what he preferred didn't happen, and it was to God's glory. It was so good. So there's things, we all have those in life, where we prefer, oh, this would be so good if you da, da, da. But if you're not willing to pivot, you'll miss the power. If you're not willing to say, maybe God wants to do something different, and embrace it and run with it, then you'll miss it. And it's subtlety, right? Jesus could have stuck with, no, I'm here for the Jews. Sorry, I said no. But even then he pivots again. He goes, well, you did have faith, and that is biblical. All right, I'll heal. It's just so fascinating, like just the subtlety of movement that he does. And so I think that's what God is one of the many things that God's trying to show me. One, it's okay if it is good to have a plan, right? He had a plan to go there and nobody know. But it's also good to pivot. And so and then to just, and how deep am I trusting God? Like if I were the woman, would I be closer to being offended and just be like, well, I guess Jesus didn't want to heal my daughter? Or would I be like, no, like I know this is my only chance. You're the only way. It's like that song, you're the only way.
This is it.
Like, so it's just, I think there needs to be a level of desperation that I think God is showing me of like, okay, what is the goal? The goal is to bring glory to the Father, right? For Jesus. So if that means he's got to give up his preference, like dying on the cross, or his preference was to not die, then he'll do that for God's glory. And so that's kind of the season I'm in.